Katherine Hastings is the author of four poetry collections, most recently A Different Beauty, 2022. Poet Laureate Emerita of Sonoma County, California, she hosted Word Temple on NPR affiliate KRCB and the Word Temple Poetry Series for a dozen years. Following the 2017 wildfires, Katherine moved to an island on the Niagara River between Canada and Buffalo with her partner Kathy Rahill. She enjoys the active Buffalo poetry scene, life along the stunning Niagara, and quick trips into Canada. She comes home to Northern California almost yearly. Please welcome Katherine Hastings.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It is so great to see all these faces. Some people I haven't seen in so long. Connie Post, yo, Carl. I want to thank Sandy and Shauna and Monica for keeping this series going. It's great that it's on Zoom every other month, so many of us can attend that used to attend in Petaluma but can't anymore. And Lynn, your reading was fabulous, just fabulous. I could listen to you a lot longer. It's nice to see you and hear you. Tonight, of course, is election eve. I can't ignore that. It feels really surreal to me that we are where we are, as I'm sure it does to you. So I'm going to open with an Emily Dickinson poem that I'm sure you all know, and feel free to recite along with me. It's something I need right now. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. We gotta have hope, right? So last month, Kathy and I took a trip to Europe and Morocco, and one of our stops was in Rome. We spent an evening in St. Peter's Square and experienced Angels Unaware. It is the first sculpture installed in St. Peter's Square in over 350 years, and it has 450 people crammed into a boat. They're migrants and immigrants, and it's a phenomenal, phenomenal piece. It was sculpted by a Canadian artist, Timothy Schmalz, and it was inspired by the biblical verse Hebrews 13:2. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. So I encourage you to find Angels Unawares, the sculpture online. It will blow you away. And someday I'll finish a poem about that. But meanwhile, here is an older poem concerning migrants that was written during a time when a certain candidate was president, and I do hope for the last time. The place of the poem is the island in the Niagara River on which I live, between Buffalo and Canada. Walking the Niagara, 2018. Broad blue river, your movement should soothe us. One country on one side, another on the other. All that blue beneath the blue arched bridge. Killdeer run in packs along ice-cracked roads. Our country on one side, yours on the other. We used to be so friendly, like sisters, like brothers. Killdeer run in packs along ice-cracked roads. Children in cages disturb our placid nights. Your country on one side, another on the other. America borders on biblical madness. Killdeer run in packs along ice-cracked roads. Here on an island between the US and Canada, America borders madness. In Texas, babes are ripped from the nipple. And here on an island between the US and Canada, though it's happening thousands of miles away, in Texas, babes are ripped from the nipple and locked away from sight. Though it's happening thousands of miles away, all their tears plummet over the falls. In Texas, babes are ripped from the nipple. A river can bring only so much peace. Though it's happening thousands of miles away, we cry into the currents of lost and lonely babes. Broad blue river, your movement should soothe us. I owe this poem to Greg Randall, who challenged me to write it. This past June, I had the pleasure of making a trip to San Francisco and Sonoma County with one of our nephews. He had wanted to go to San Francisco with me since he was a very young child. He's in his early 30s now, and we finally made it. This is a last word for Michael Rahill. There is a light in San Francisco that pours like milk, a prescription from sea and sun for life. It wraps us as petals wrap themselves at night. We become drunken in its blue dream, belonging to everyone, everything. Belonging to everyone, everything, I was born for this city of water and hills, of wild parrots streaming east to west and back again, red-headed green arrows broadcasting their way to the Poets' Park for an evening chatter. In the Poets' Park for an evening chatter, there is so much breath among trees and sails. City of my salvation and near death. Decades on, I still hear the tinkles tell of bottles in wire baskets left on the stoop, with only pleated paper caps to shield them. Feel on my skin the misted sun, the bay, white-capped or fog-draped or diamond-dropped serene, as I climb down her barnacled steps in search of starfish. They were always there. They were always there, and here they are again, the streets of many tongues with old bohemians, beat wannabes, and curious cowboys under the sign Saloon. What's new? Unaffordable rents, laid off techies, and a man leashed to a dozen dogs at once. And I am with those dogs that I love, pulling and pulling. My joints are fluid, I am young, and the hills are benevolent in the city of my heart. In the city of my heart, we beat together, unwounded, unweighted. We drink the city as though from a fountain from which only ecstasy can spring. When the journey ends, I will pack everything I can into breast pockets, sea-salted air, fortune cookies on the iron, the stool-stooped woman folding futures in, flags of eucalyptus waving hello, real sourdough, memories of the churning ferry as I arrived and arrived, not yet a mere specter wandering the white hills of heaven, of home. So Grand Island, New York actually consists of 3 islands, Grand, Buckhorn, and Beaver. The last 2 are state parks. Here's a poem written along the shores of Beaver Island State Park, a place I walk very often. Wind drives oceanic kisses from the river. The river floats sunset roses drifting toward night, murmurs as if a child dreaming, as if soothing a child lost on its pebbly shore. There are song sparrows in greening trees, ospreys in the lace of sky, geese erupting into arrows of longing. We greet dog walkers and mushroom pickers, women welcoming spring's coltsfoot and cliff swallows. All along the paths are voices of water and trees and air. My love and I take our hearts here when they hurt or are tired of the world man has made. We sit on the shore's bench that holds us like a wing. The river is thatched with mergansers and swans, gulls and buffleheads, is lined with its own music of memories. The river is ours. We have made it so. Others call their saviors one of 100 names. The Wish. On our warm brick windowsill, a robin sat on her camouflaged creation of mud and twigs. When the eggs were exposed, I wondered why they are blue. One answer, the brighter the blue, the more daddy feeds the hatchlings. When I was 9 months old, decades before women could have their own anything, bank accounts, credit cards. My father abandoned my mother, my sister, and me for another woman. Before that, he left another wife and daughter. Apparently, our shells weren't even the faintest blue. When I learned about the vulnerability of baby robins, I stopped filling the bird feeders to keep predators away from the nest. Lure a nuthatch, lure a hawk. But now I see the male perched on a shepherd's hook, 4 wiggling worms dangling from his beak. It's endearing and a little comical until he soars to the edge of the nest to feed those frantically begging mouths. The eggs were blue. He's a great dad, and I love him almost as much as I wish I knew a daughter could. Since moving here, a number of poets I know in the Bay Area have passed, too many. So here are 2 elegies. Hello, Katherine. It's Lawrence Ferlinghetti. February 23rd, 21, the day after his death. After we shared a table at Cafe Trieste, after we walked to your place on Francisco, what other street would you live on? After you apologized for the smell of burned lamb stew, after you read a poem or two, and after a shared platter of steamed mussels at Rose Pistola, we walked up Stockton through Chinatown to the tunnel, and on the way a car pulled up, stopped at the curb, released a small girl in her pink coat, white socks, and black Mary Janes. And you stopped our conversation, stopped our walking long enough to look at her black, shiny hair, hear her laughter that rang like small bells, and said, "There's a poem." And though our walking and talking continued through that tunnel, out the other side and around the block to Grant and back again, I knew you were composing with every step a very San Francisco poem, the reflection of a scene so changed now, not so much because of the death of Rose Pistola, where every diner received a little card with your poem, or the pandemic silenced cable cars, or the masked faces of beautiful women, or even because you're not walking the streets and never will again. The city doesn't care about these things and continues to flow her boa through the gate you once sailed through, and in alleys women still share their laundry lines, and the Giants will start spring practice any day now. But because no one will write about them the way you did, or recite them the way you did, or lure long-haired women to dinner like you did, just to take a walk where a poem might appear. In memory of Neely Tchaikovsky, July 1st, 1945, March 19th, 2024. San Francisco, your great ones are dying. Hirschman, Ferlinghetti, De Prima, Tchaikovsky. I knew them all, and the greats on the edges of your shore, Meltzer, McClure, Al Young. San Francisco, who do you have now in your driverless cars to take you to the moon? San Francisco, I knew them all. They were your real angels. What is left of your toga devoured by bits and bytes? What is left of your lovely wings? Oh, San Francisco, I am coming home to you. I am coming with my eyes shut so I can see you, my ears closed. The cups of Cafe Trieste are growing cold, are shaking in their saucers. The wooden chairs are moaning across the floor. Who is sitting in your window, San Francisco? Your greats are dying, the ones who loved you with your 1,000 tongues, your flowered buses, your affordable rents. San Francisco, the automatons have come for you, but the poets beat in your veins. The poets place their mouths on yours, and their breath will be your breath. God damn it, San Francisco, do something. The great ones are dying. Raise up that young woman or man or neither or both riding in your window and send them out into the streets howling. all the prayers that will save you. De Prima asked you in the end, what happened? The poets happened. It was your golden age until it was Googled and Amazon to the towers of greed and isolation. San Francisco, you have always been the poet, the poem, the pagan church on the hill. Bless the dead poets. Remember their songs. Sing them in the bars and pool halls and bookstores. Sing them like a madwoman who is breaking open with the effort to save her children, her world. Sweet dreams, Tchaikovsky. May your spirit bring you to the greatest poet's corner in the blue, blue sky. And may they welcome you with love above the city lights. Slug of water time. I mentioned at the beginning of this reading that Kathy and I took a trip to Europe and Morocco in September. We visited the Keats Shelley House in Rome, Lorca's summer home in Granada, the beautiful little theater in the Alhambra Palace Hotel that he performed in, Pessoa's Cafe in Lisbon, and more. It was wonderful, but unfortunately, while we were away and couldn't get home, my sister had a stroke. She's making a slow and steady recovery, but here is one of several poems that came out of that experience. Clinging to the bright side in protective mode. I walk in the park on Beaver Island with my sister and her new post-stroke body, knowing how lucky we are she didn't inherit our mother's paralysis and 5-year wait for death, but instead came through with a loss of words and a right hand that can't figure out what to do with itself. Gulls speckle the river already dotted with sun diamonds, as if this day together isn't enough to celebrate. And then I see 2 people with 2 large off-leash dogs coming towards us. So, arm in arm, I lead my sister to a railing and say, hold on. Hold on, I think, something I didn't wish upon our mother. The dogs keep coming, their long tongues flagging out of their panting mouths. So I walk toward them, calling, puppy, puppy. And sure enough, they ignore my sister and wag their girth against my knees. When the people reach us, I tilt my head sister-wise and say, she's a little off balance, which I thought was much nicer than, keep your goddamn dogs on a leash. But they keep walking past us without saying a word, as if they couldn't find words, as if this day and the next were promised them. Nothing is promised but this moment. So we link arms again. My sister takes my hand. While in Granada, I met with a Lorca scholar who told me of an old poet still living there who knew Garcia Lorca. And he feels very strongly that he knows where Lorca is buried. And this information was shared with me, and I believe it. If it's true, it's no wonder he's never been found. So, but I'm going to leave you in suspense and and share you with a poem I wrote many years ago called Menor, written after a box of letters and mementos belonging to Lorca's last lover was found. Look, they are lying in amber still. From the beloved sleeps on the poet's breast, Federico Garcia Lorca. After 70 years, Garcia Lorca, the stars have brought us the name of your last love. The dusk of nightingales, the soft-necked dove, his name, your trembling flesh, all in a box, sheltered from eyes that would eat you whole. Juan, you whispered, Juan, here is my breast, a broken moon, the dahlia of my blood. Garcia Lorca, but for this boy, the underground cell of your center, you may have left Spain, may not have been executed with the bullfighters and one-legged schoolteacher. The more we know, the more the clouds fill our mouths. Poeta, poeta. In the box, an orange blossom from Granada, a testament of desperate desire. I can't even look at him, you say. Do we wish you hadn't? No. We cradle the coffin of poems and letters. Ay, vol secreta dell'amor oscuro. We resume looking for your bones, the hard ivory of your head. We cannot break our mourning for the lily lost before the bloom. Poeta dulce, donde están? Sweet poet, where are you? I'm going to finish with one of my poems and then a very short one by someone else. Beaver Island. Today, at least 100 swans, 100 at least, floating free on the ice-cold river, their necks, curved and snowy elegance, dip their heads and carroty beaks through the quick-changing light, skimming the skin of water soon to be starlit, the slim sliver of moon a partner to the crystalline. Nearby, a man in camouflage walks with his back bent to the shore, sweeps a detector for coins. He carries a shovel in case what he needs isn't obvious, isn't right in front of his eyes. But I tell you and tell you again, today there are 100 swans, 100 at least floating free. I see them in the heart of day. Their wings are holy fans of light. Fish and feathers measure their warmth. Hope will never come to an end with this world so luminous, our breath rising natural to nested trees. And I'm going to end with a little teeny bit more hope. This is one of the haiku coups by James Broughton. Don't worry, said the caterpillar. We'll all come out beautifully in the end. Thank you.